Hello and welcome back to another episode on the channel by me, TheWiseJames. We're just going to be reacting to Nigel Farage responding to the comments by Peter Kyle from the Labour Party, who compared him to being on the side of Jimmy Savile. This was said because Nigel Farage said he would overturn the recent changes to the internet where you need age verification for adult websites. So what the Labour guy said was, if Jimmy Savile was still alive today, he would be committing those crimes online, and Nigel Farage would be helping him get away with it by overturning this new law. And Nigel Farage is now going to respond to this, and I'm going to see what he has to say. Because it's quite interesting for me, because I see him as the reason we have the mass migration problem. He helped the Tories push in the bad deal with the current laws, regulations and rules that are causing our current mass migration problem. So he caused the current mass migration problem. So from my perspective, there's literally thousands of sex offenders in the UK who should not be here because of Nigel Farage. Yet all the people who want them gone are voting for him. It makes no sense to me. So I'm here hoping that I will maybe find out why all these idiots think he's the right man for the job. Like, bearing in mind, he really was close to Trump, and Trump is Epstein's best friend. I mean, do I really need to say more than I've already said? So yeah, it was supposed to be at past. We're now looking at 35 minutes past, so I mean, he can't even keep to his word. He said past. It's 35 minutes past. That's tardiness. So he can't be on time, can he? Hey. That is true. There's a comment here that Starmer defended Savile. He did. That's going to be what Nigel Farage says. How Keir Starmer defended Jimmy Savile, and now a member of his party has come out trying to compare him, Nigel Farage, to defending Savile. Oh, this is going to get real interesting, boys. This is going to get real interesting. There he is.
Good morning and welcome to our first broadcast coming direct from Reform UK's new headquarters here in Westminster. I just wish I was in a better mood, because I'm not. We alone.
Why is he so orange like Donald Trump? He's literally as orange as Donald Trump. He's trying to copy Donald Trump in the way he even looks. Look, he's fucking orange. He's like an Oompa Loompa who's grey. What is going on in this world? What is wrong with being white? What is wrong with being white, you fucking bellends?
Over the course of the last 48 hours, have been putting out criticisms of the Online Safety Act, an act that has come into being in several stages over the last 2 years. On the 25th of July, the last phase kicked in. Already, we are seeing censorship, and we are deeply worried as a party about the implications for free speech, the future of social media. Of course, remember, it's all supposed to be about protecting children. Well, Labour Minister Peter Kyle this morning has been out on broadcast media and indeed on X, and this is what he's been saying.
We can't hear it, Reform. You guys have such bad technical support. Like, does not understand computers. We can't hear it. We can't hear it, Reform. What kind of broadcast is this? Like, even I do better than this on my streams. We can't hear this, Reform. You fucking mugs. You fucking mugs. This is his live broadcast on YouTube, man. And he's going to come back and start talking to us as if we've heard it. Come on. Come on.
So make no mistake. This is a major leap. You're going to stick to the fact that you said that. I see that Nigel Farage is already saying that he's going to overturn these laws. So, we have people out there who are extreme pornographers, peddling hate, peddling violence. Nigel Farage is on their side. Make no mistake about it, if people like Jimmy Saville were alive today, he'd be perpetrating his crimes online. And
he would be. That's what they do these days.
Nigel Farage is saying that he's on their side. I'm sorry. Not the side of children who are... I'm going to ask you to clarify. Do you honestly think to say Nigel Farage is on Jimmy Saville's side? When it comes to online activity, we have seen unfettered access of adults to children via social media. When we put in the age verification, it stops strange adults getting in touch with children. So make no mistake. This is a major leap. You're going to stick to the fact that you said that Nigel Farage is on Jimmy Savile's side. Nigel Farage is on the side of turning the clock back to the time when strange adults, strangers, can get in touch via messaging apps with children. We have now asked them to age verify the age in which people can have access.
It is a bit ironic considering the leader of his political party literally was the lawyer for Jimmy Savile and defended him, as far as I'm aware. Like, helped defend and cover up what Jimmy Savile did. Like, as far as I'm aware. I mean, I could be wrong, but he was either in charge of the CPS that failed to prosecute him, or he was the legal representation for Savile that stopped him being persecuted and prosecuted for what he did. I'm pretty sure he was head of the CPS. That's how he's the one responsible for defending Savile. So, he's literally helped Jimmy Savile get away with it by doing a bad job. So, how can now the leader of that party's, one of their members, come and say this? It seems a bit, bit hypocritical, doesn't it? Little bit hypocritical of the Labour Party.
Access to online content so we can protect children from unwanted, dangerous content, and also those messaging services where people can get access directly to it. Nigel Farage wants to turn the clock right back when all of that, I have absolutely no doubt about it, people are perpetrating more crime online, more danger to children online, and Nigel Farage has said he wants to overturn every single one of the laws that keeps children safe in our country.
Well, this is so absolutely disgusting that it's almost beyond belief. Just how low can the Labour government sink in its desperation? Yes, of course, they're in trouble.
They sunk to the same levels you sunk. Nigel Farage crawled over to America to lick Donald Trump's arse and get his support to try and get UKIP and Brexit done and that sort of stuff. And Jeffrey Epstein called Donald Trump his best friend, right? So Starmer has been kissing up to Donald Trump the same way he did. He's kissed up to Donald Trump so much, he's now wearing an orange face like Donald Trump. You can see here, on Nigel Farage's, around his lips, on the tip of his nose, not the bridge of his nose, on the tip of his nose is his actual skin colour. So he's got a fake tan on his nose here, all over his forehead. His temples, his cheeks and neck look like he's from Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. He is taking what Trump does and copying it, okay?
They're well behind us in the opinion polls, but frankly to say that I would do anything that would in any way aid and abet people like Jimmy Savile is frankly just, it's so below the belt, it's almost not true.
Almost not true. Almost not true, because he has done things to help those sorts of people. Let me explain. Nigel Farage used to be our Member of Parliament in the EU. It was his responsibility, paid by the UK taxpayer and as a representative of the British government in the EU, to ensure our safe borders and policies with the EU. He was so bad at his job, he got so sick of it, he decided to single-handedly drag us out of Brexit, and they all laughed at him, said, yeah, of course you will, mate. So he went over to America, got support from the Americans to help him persuade the British public to get a referendum done on if we wanted to leave the EU, and David Cameron caved into public demand for that referendum that Nigel Farage created the demand for. So, Brexit, he helped them get done, the Tories, he helped them implement the current rules, regulations and laws that are causing our current mass migration problem. Now, I am getting somewhere. So, because Nigel is essentially single-handedly the cause of Brexit, but the Tories helped him do it, and he helped the Tories do it, so he's not solely responsible, but he is the sole cause, realistically. So he caused the implementation and helped the Tories with the implementation of the current rules, laws and regulations, right? With his public approval, by getting all his UKIP supporters and people to back the deal. He publicly backed the deal and got all his supporters to back the deal. That deal included the current laws we have. Those current laws we have are what are causing the current mass migration problem. And because of those current laws, we have thousands of child sex offenders in the UK who not only would never be here and should never be here without Nigel, but we can't send them anywhere back. We have no way to return them. So, as much as I don't think he would be on the side of Jimmy Savile, I'm not saying that. I don't think Nigel Farage would be on the side of Jimmy Savile, and I think he would do everything in his power to stop men like that. But by dragging us out of the EU and causing the implementation of the current laws and regulations by helping the Tories do it, he has helped there be and helped cause there to be thousands of child sex offenders in the UK who should not be here, and also we cannot send back. And so British taxpayers are being used to protect these people that are here because he didn't do a good job at the EU. Essentially, all this boils down to him not doing a good job. So as much as no, he wouldn't be on the side of Jimmy Savile, he is the reason for the mass migration problem, which includes being thousands of child sex offenders being in this country who shouldn't be here. But none of you care about that, do you? You're all going to still vote him in as leader, even though he's dressed up like an Oompa Loompa for TV, and, he is the cause of Brexit, which caused the implementation of the rules and laws, which caused the current mass migration problem, which is why we have these undocumented sex offenders in the UK. None of you are going to hold him responsible. None of you are going to care that he's responsible, because you just want the Labour Party out that much, and you hate the Tory Party that much, you're willing to bet your money on this guy. And I can't help yous, because you won't vote me in, so I can't help yous.
But all of this is, of course, deflection. Deflection because we were told from the very start...
That's what they are doing, is deflection of the fact Nigel is in bed with Trump, who's in bed with Epstein. They're trying to distance themselves from that. But he's dressed like Trump here. It's not going to work. He looks more like Trump than I've ever seen him look. He literally looks like a British Trump now. He's got the orange face, you know. He's going to start calling everyone amazing and doing a great job, blah, blah, blah.
By the way, it's not the Labour government that have passed this legislation. It was the previous Conservative government that have passed this legislation, which is
the same Tories you helped implement the current mass migration problem.
Why you've barely heard a squeak out of them. But if it's designed to protect children, then I sense it may very, very well have been drawn up by people who don't know what they're doing. I did ask Peter...
He's right, though. These people don't know what they're doing, because you know what kids will do? They'll use a VPN, and they'll pretend they're in a different country and bypass the system. If there's one thing kids can do, it's bypass computer security systems. I was bypassing my parents' computer systems when I was a kid. Me and my brother... I was literally bypassing my school's computer systems in high school. Okay, so let me teach you something how stupid it was in high school. So they introduced blacklists in high school to the internet. So you couldn't go on games and stuff anymore in high school, right? This is like 2003 or whatever. So I came up with a solution to that. You just search for the games in a different language. So if you wanted to play a Kitty Cannon game, you searched what Kitty Cannon was in French and German and Googled that instead. And it worked. Because the list only included English things. It didn't include the blocking of other languages things that were the same thing. So games were blocked in English, but if you searched for games in French, it was fine. Like, it doesn't take a genius to get past an adult's brain sometimes, because you just don't think kids are smart. But kids are fucking smart. They're really smart. So what they've all done is they're starting to use VPNs now. And so they bypass everything the government's implemented. Everything the government has done can get bypassed by a VPN, basically, essentially. And if it detects you're in a VPN, it's not illegal. They can't stop you using a VPN, and they can't stop all the adults using VPNs who use VPNs from using VPNs. So what they're going to do? So it is a bit of a farce, really. It is a little bit of a farce, but I agree with it. I understand trying to protect kids. I get it. But these kids have already outsmarted this system. Before it was even put in, everyone knew how to get around it. It's only people who don't understand computers who made this policy. This is how I get so pissed off. All these people in government have no clue about computers. No fucking clue. They are thick as fuck when it comes to computers. Thick as fuck.
The car for an apology, but he's gone out on X and he's not going to back down in any way at all. So there we are. You know, if you want to overturn the Online Safety Act, you're on the side of predators. It's as simple as that. Well, folks, let me tell you something. It is not as simple as that. In fact, far from it.
Wow. The technology people at Reform are shocking. Like, the sound was off for the video. Like, his microphone's crackling and, like, what is this? This is supposed to be someone who wants to be Prime Minister, and they can't even get a video on YouTube right. Like, what are they, me?
In fact, our worry as a party is that, in fact, what this will do...
I hate the fact he's got orange makeup on, to be honest, lads. I don't care what anyone says in the world, right? There's nothing wrong with being white. You don't look healthier because you put some orange chemicals on your face. That's just a delusion women like to tell themselves so that they feel better about spending loads of money on makeup, right? There is no reason or logic to a white man appearing on TV with half of his face covered in orange fake tan, looking like he's an Oompa Loompa who's escaped from Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory, alright? There's no excuse for it. What is wrong with being white, Nigel Farage? You, of all people in this country, should not be wearing fake tan, right? You're a fucking hypocrite is what you are.
Is spend far more time regulating what adults can say. Oh, and by the way, isn't it ironic that 16 and 17-year-olds will now find it impossible to access all sorts of material on the internet, including current affairs and politics, and yet Labour want to give them the vote? Well, I'm joined in the studio by somebody who actually does understand the online world, does understand...
Yeah, because Nigel doesn't. At least he can admit that, for fuck's sake.
The tech world. I'm joined by our own Zia Yusuf.
How does Zia understand the online world?
Zia, let's just start to begin with.
His strength lies in understanding people, specifically powerful men. I don't think his strength lies in understanding the internet, to be honest. That's a load of bullshit.
This idea that somehow it's going to protect children. You mentioned to me yesterday the number of people moving to VPNs. I can show you a graphic now on the screen. There's been a massive increase in people going to VPNs. What does this actually mean, Zia?
So a VPN is a virtual private network. What it allows people to do, including kids, is to spoof, basically trick a website into making it look like that user is from a totally different location. So you can go on a VPN, happy as Larry, tap Holland, Denmark, USA, whatever it may be. And
I find it really embarrassing, if I'm honest. I find it really embarrassing that I have two high-profile politicians live on the internet trying to educate their followers what a VPN is. Like, I think this would be the equivalent of me coming onto YouTube and trying to teach everyone what petrol and diesel is. What water and eggs is. If you don't know what a VPN is, right, you shouldn't be part of this debate. You should not be part of this debate. And if you have to explain what a VPN is, like, you should be following the debate, not trying to dictate it, right?
As soon as you've done that, you defeat not just these age controls that this legislation has brought in, but it also defeats, really important, and if you're a parent, it's really important you know this, if you're using your internet service provider's parental controls or monitoring systems, the ones that Sky, Broadband, BT, they'll provide you, it defeats those too. And as you said, it is the tech-savvy 13, 14, 15, 16-year-olds who will run rings around these ministers who, frankly, dinosaurs who don't...
He's right on that.
...get this stuff. And I want to go a step further than that. Not only does it send young people to VPNs, which also then, by the way, takes them in much more likely to go into places, the dark web, which make the ordinary web, not that there aren't horrors there, pale in comparison. It's a nightmarish hellscape.
He's right there as well.
When we talk about protecting predators, let's talk about that. You know, Katie Lamb's speech in the House of Commons, where supposedly protected by parliamentary privilege, where she excoriated the record of people who covered up the appalling rape gangs, that's been censored. The transcript, the legal transcript of one of the rape gang legal transcripts that was retweeted by Elon Musk, that has been censored.
Yes, even Elon Musk.
Yeah, so he is making a fair point that the Labour government, right, are saying that they're trying to protect children, but when it comes to victims of sexual crimes, they've tried to cover up and protect the criminals, not protect the children. So why are they protecting the children on this matter, but when it was the Rotherham grooming gang, they didn't protect the children? They protected the perpetrators and the people in power who would help cover it up, who were too scared of being called racist, so didn't call out child sex abuse. Like, that was essentially what it was.
So even Elon Musk's own post has been censored already. And all of this has happened within the first 2 or 3 days.
Correct. And one of the reasons this is happening, even on X, by the way, where you've got a hero like Elon that basically owns the whole thing, one of the things this Orwellian piece of legislation does, Nigel, is it makes the incentives for any social media company and management team skewed so that they're just going to over-censor. So 10% of global revenues is one of the penalties. Jail time for management teams. And, you know, the notion that this is just about child safety, you'll have to explain to us why Section 44 of the Act exists, which allows a single government minister, a single Secretary of State, to unilaterally order Ofcom to rewrite the rules on a whim without parliamentary scrutiny. You'd have to explain why Section 179 exists, which creates a threshold where it is illegal to say something you know to be false, which causes non-trivial psychological harm. Think about that.
What?
The 9 exists, which creates a threshold where it is illegal to say something you know to be false, which causes non-trivial psychological harm. Think about that as a threshold relative to incitement.
That's a hell of a broad scale of, like, pretty much everything that can be said.
for violence. And by the way, we know this Labour government, and I know it's the Tories who birthed all of this and passed it, this Labour government love locking people up for things that they say. So you'll notice nothing we've talked about involves making British people safe. And I know
they also love hand-delivering letters to paedophiles' best friends and ignoring people who actually have helped this country when they write them letters, because, you know, apparently decent, hard-working British people who pay their taxes are not worth responding to a letter from the Prime Minister. But hand-delivering a letter from the King to Jeffrey Epstein's best friend, who was a convicted 32-time felon, oh, that's worth his time. That's worth his time. But a British person who spent the whole life working hard and, you know, suffered wrongfully, he didn't have time for. Wasn't worth Keir Starmer's time. So, yeah, it's turning out that Labour really, really should have replied to my letter, shouldn't you? Shouldn't you? Dickheads.
You're in a bad mood, quite rightly, for the disgusting slur on you. But Reform is leading in the polls at 34%. You are favourite to be the next Prime Minister, the most popular political leader in this country. And what Labour are saying is, if you are a British person who is worried about this authoritarian clampdown on freedom of speech, you are on the side of sexual predators. It's utterly disgusting.
Yeah, that is kind of what they've tried to say. And it's very obvious that the Labour Party are terrified. They're terrified because Reform are going to come in and people are going to vote them in. And I get it, you know. I get it. People are sick of the Tories. They're sick of Labour. They've somehow been persuaded that Nigel's going to save them from the mass migration problem, even though he's the fucker who caused it. And they don't know that they could just vote for me as Prime Minister. They don't know that. They don't know who I am, and so they're not going to vote for me. I get it. It's fine. So they see him as their only option, so he is the one who gets all the numbers at the minute. But there's a lot can happen in 4 years, let me tell you. A lot can happen in 4 years. He could be in jail within 4 years for helping with the Epstein scandal. We don't know. We don't know.
And worse than that, if it is just to protect children, why are they setting up an elite police unit that will monitor what we say about illegal immigration and indeed about asylum hotels?
And yet we don't have an elite police force that monitors the police. The police commit more crimes, I reckon, in this country on a daily basis than the British public now. So every time they write a statement that isn't entirely correct, that's a false statement, a legal false declaration to the courts. It's classed as perjury, right? If you treat two different individuals differently, that's discrimination. Whether it's a man or a woman, or a Muslim or a Christian, or a child or an adult, that's discrimination. That's against the law. You've got obviously negligence, public negligence. You've got causing people to fear for their safety. That's another one. You know, traffic violations like parking at double yellow lines, speeding when they should be speeding, not indicating when they should be indicating, using their sirens when there's no emergency. Like, the crimes the police commit on a daily basis are fucking endless. And they never get answered to. They don't, you know when some of them literally write a statement over what they think something happened or a crime, and they change some of the details just slightly because it was easier to word it this way or that way because they're not very good with English. They've committed perjury. They've literally committed a fraud and lied to the court about what happened, because if they say, he was going 30 miles an hour in a 30 zone, you know, you haven't broke the law. But if they say, I think he was travelling well above 30 miles an hour in a 30 zone, but there was no proof, the court will pursue you for that charge. So they've altered their statement to pursue a criminal conviction instead of telling the truth. It's perjury, it's fraud. The police do this on a fucking daily basis, and they're not held accountable by the people who are supposed to hold them accountable. No one holds the police accountable anymore. Nobody. They are literally a lawless gang. That's what they are, a lawless gang that abuse people's human rights. They don't enforce the law. They cause protesters to have become riots by bringing one group of protesters to another one and then defending them. Like, they're always trying to portray themselves as the good guys rather than actually being the good guys.
Too. And I was very interesting that Jonathan Hall, KC, who is our terrorism czar, he said very, very clearly this morning on LBC, I think it was, I'm afraid the Online Safety Act is not going to be the solution. So, Peter Kyle, I ask you, is the government's own terrorism czar on the side of Jimmy Saville as well? Well, you know what? I've asked for an apology. We're not going to get one. I think perhaps the best thing we can do is to sign the petition to repeal the Online Safety Act.
The thing is, right, it's all well and good saying that you don't like the Online Safety Act, you want to repeal it, blah, 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 blah. That's all well and good. So what is the solution you have instead to help these children be protected from harmful material? Now, I understand the solution that the Labour government is trying to use won't work. I understand that. But my question is, if the Reform Party are going to ask everyone to put their kids in danger by exposing them to this material, what solution do they have to stop it? Or is it just because all these men are pissed off they can't anymore? Like, is that what it is? Are they pissed off that their names are going to be attached to every porn video they ever watch on their Google account, their Facebook account, or their phone? Their IP address and their MAC address will be attached to every pornographic video they've ever watched in their life. Because the truth is, it already was. You just didn't know it, bitch.
That's what I'm going to do today. I think it makes sense. I'm deeply worried about the implications for free speech. And what is absolutely...
Now, I get it. I think Nigel's right, though. I don't think the Labour government is doing this to protect children. I agree. I don't think they are. They're doing it for censorship. They don't want people to be able to say what they want about MPs, about the Prime Minister, about Trump, about the King. They don't want you to have free speech. They literally don't want you to have that. I believe that is the case. They see people being able to tell the truth online as a threat to their power. And so they will try and silence people, yes.
Clear to me is a problem that runs right through British government, is that legislation passed by the Conservatives, supported by Labour, no doubt aided and abetted all the way through by civil servants, none of them have got a clue what they're doing. With people like Zia, we've actually got the real expertise. So, Mr. Kyle, can I have an apology, please?
He sounds like some fucking divvy asking for his ball back. I think he does deserve an apology for saying that he would defend Jimmy Savile, because I don't think he would be on the side of Jimmy Savile. I think that's just an extreme, what's the way I could just word this? It's an extreme stretching of the truth in order to make a lie seem correct. So they've used truth to lie. It's called a truthful lie. That's what this minister has done. It's called a truthful lie. He's used a grain of truth to make a lie seem correct. So the lie is that Nigel would be defending people like Jimmy Savile. And he's built that on the truth that appealing this petition and appealing this new law and overturning it would have allowed Jimmy Savile to commit his crimes easier. So, by law of implication, the Labour Party are implying that Nigel would be on the side of helping Jimmy Savile, when that's not true. You know, that's not how it works. It's called a truthful lie, where you wrap up a lie in truth. You get like this one, you get this one little lie like this, okay? Right? So here we go. Here's the lie. Nigel would have helped Jimmy Savile. And then you wrap it in the truth that because Nigel wants to repeal the safety law, Jimmy Savile would have been easier able to commit his crimes. And so on appearances, it appears true. But when you look at the details and you look actually closely, oh wait, no, it's a lie. Okay? It's called a truthful lie, everyone. I know you're adults, but some of you are thick as fuck and don't even know what a truthful lie is, right? But the truth is, if Nigel won't apologise for helping the Tories cause the mass migration problem and distancing himself from the problem he helped create with them, I can't support him. That is the one reason I can and will never support Nigel Farage until such a time he admits that by helping the Tories create this mass migration problem, he was wrong and he's sorry. Until then, he has nothing from me. No support, no confidence. I don't believe he's going to do a good job. I'm glad he is trying to do good. I'm glad he's pissing the establishment off. Really love that. But I don't think he's going to do a good job. I don't think he understands that he is the cause of the current mass migration problem because he helped the Tories, and without his help, the Tories could have never done it. And I can forgive him for it if he admits it and apologises. But if he doesn't, I could never forgive him. It's quite simple. I'm sorry, Farage. I like what you're doing, but I don't believe a single word of what you say. I don't. Because you don't take accountability and responsibility for the failures you've already caused from your positions in power. So I don't think if you became Prime Minister, you would hold yourself accountable for further failures you commit when you have that responsibility. Because you have provided no evidence that you take accountability and responsibility for your historic failures at the EU by helping the Tory party. You see it as a success, Nigel. You see all this as a success because you got what you wanted. And I see it as a failure because you helped the Tories get what they wanted. And they fucked you over to do it, didn't they? So there we go. So thanks very much for watching. Have a good one. Take care. Peace.